Okay, good morning, folks. Keep going on the cross of tension. And there we go with the right angle cross of tension 2 4 profile. I love these second lines because in the spleen, second lines reveal so much. This is the line of degeneracy. So we got the terminal disease in the 18.2, and here we have degeneracy in the 48.2. The awareness that to successfully establish a new form, one cannot neglect the most positive attribute just to accommodate inferior elements. This would lead to deterioration, a confidence in awareness to resist inferior influences. This is very simple. If your partner is inferior, you will degenerate, and so will the relationship. It's very simple. Now, remember that very subjective, obviously, and that inferiority is going to be whenever in the inadequacy shows up through the provocation that you bring. The Venus hair and detriment. The misguided urge for harmony that degenerates when associated with inferior forces into decadence, a lack of confidence in awareness that invites inference and decadence. So one of the obvious things that the second line recognizes again, it's a two. It's a 2-4. It says, don't come in here, leave me alone. Because the moment you come into my life, everything is going to degenerate. You're an inferior force. You don't appreciate my depth. And you make me feel inadequate. You'll notice with cross of tension people that if they don't have partners that at least have harmonics to half of their cross, it doesn't mean it has to be the polarity. Whatever at least two, it's awful because there's no natural connection to the provocation. There isn't. I know how difficult that is. The two fives. The two fives lacks confidence. Confidence is a big problem for two fives. Again, it has to do with the five. It has to do with losing your face, losing reputation. This need to be away, and yet at the same time, the fact that in hiding that other people see that you have gifts, that there's all this potential projection on you. And the whole thing about two fives is that they cannot be motivated by somebody else. They can only motivate themselves. And remember something that for the cross of tension, unless there is a positive response to the tension, they have a degenerate relationship and they're the ones that are going to suffer. Remember, this is really about suffering, and they can really suffer because they end up holding all the tension inside of them. They can't get it out. If you can't get the tension out, eventually it's going to be very, very painful physical process. One of the things you notice about the second line is that you're really getting on an archetype for second line interpretation. Because one of the things they can always understand is about the second line is that the second line does have a confidence problem. That is, they can self overconfident and end up in great problems or lack confidence. It's something you're going to find at the underlying level in all twos. Of course, it's natural to think of in that way. After all, they're the naturals. They don't have the first line depth. They're not really able to dig in and to add up with all the information. So they're not really comfortable with confident. And they really do have the depth, not confident in the adequacy. So you can see the 18.2 will feed this because if they are not confident with the adequacy, the 18.2 will come in and say, well, God will help. God will make you feel more adequate. God's the one. God's the only one. God is everything.